guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Lee and I'm a runner who loves to make YouTube videos on fitness, travel, and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please make sure to hit the subscribe button so that we can be friends. Alright, so I am super excited about today's video today because I feel like the world is opening back up. And so since the world is opening back up, people are booking trips, which means that Runcations are a thing again. So I'm really excited about that. And if you clicked on this video, it's probably because you're thinking about either planning a new run vacation or this will be your first one. So I'm glad that you went to me so that you can get some advice on how to plan your first or next runcation. So if you're not a runner or you're new to running, let me explain a little bit what a runcation is. So pretty much a runcation is when someone plans a vacation pretty much to run. So either it's for the sole purpose of running or they plan on running a specific race while they're on vacation. So that is why it gets the term runcation. So I have run a ton of runcations. So I've done Vancouver, I've done Curacao, Amsterdam, Lisbon. I've done so many of them. So I feel like I'm pretty much an expert at planning a runcation, so you are definitely in the right place to figure out how to plan a very flawless and smooth runcation. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to select a destination. So there are two ways that you can select a destination. You can either select a specific race. So let's say you heard someone say that they ran the Flying Pig in Cincinnati and you thought that that was a cool race, and so you have a specific race that you want to do. Or you want to do one of the world majors or a rock and roll race. So pretty much you have a specific race that you want to do. That's the first way that you can select a runcation. So if you have a specific race that you want to do, that's going to take care of a lot of the information that you need to plan a runcation. So it will take care of the destination, it will take care of the date, the time of year. You'll have all of that information filled out. So that is pretty much the easiest way to find a runcation. So tools that I find useful in order to determine a specific race that I want to run is halfmarathon.net. And that website, you're able to search for different races by different states, by different times of the month. And so it pretty much is a database that tracks all half marathons. And a lot of those races have different distances if you're not interested in specifically running a half marathon. So another website that I find helpful in determining a specific race that I would like to run is active.com. And so the thing with Active is that a lot of races use Active in order for race participants to register for it. So it has a huge database of upcoming races, popular races. Like, it's a great website to browse so that you can get a specific idea of what races are out there and see if any of them pop out for you. So a second way that you can actually select your runcation destination is to have a specific destination that you always wanted to visit. So for example, if you've always wanted to visit London or you've always wanted to visit Hawaii, Amsterdam, something like that, then you can start researching specific races in that particular area. So that's actually how I found the Amsterdam TCS race that I ran a couple of years ago. I knew that I wanted to go to Amsterdam, and so I just searched for on Google very popular races in that country, and then I found the Amsterdam TCS race, which then allowed me to determine, okay, this race is this specific time of year. And so once I found that particular race, then everything else is pretty much laid out for me as far as when I would go and what city and stuff that I needed to be in order to run that race. So I find this option to be a great option if you've always wanted to visit a place but didn't really know the logistics of finding out what time of year you should go, what you should do there. Having a runcation in that specific destination will kind of plan out some of those items for you. And it gives you a great opportunity to see a new area on your own 2 feet. So it's a great way to explore a new city. After you determine what race you're going to do, now you need to plan out the logistics. So the next step to planning your perfect runcation is to plan out the logistics for it. So planning out the logistics for your race is going to address a lot of those important details. So how long are you going to be at the destination for your race? How far is your hotel from the start line? How much is all of this going to cost you? So the logistics is going to answer a bulk of that important details that you need in order to plan the perfect runcation. So at this point of your planning, you need to determine if you're going to front end your race or back end your race. And so let me get into a little bit more detail of what that is. So if you're gonna front end your race, that means that you're gonna have your race day towards the beginning of your runcation. And so that means you're probably gonna be at the destination 1-2 days max before you run the race. So a lot of people like to do this in order to make sure that they're, you know, being very focused and they're in the best shape in order to run their race. Now, I personally like to back end my race to my runcation. So what that means is I'm typically in the area for 3 or 4 days, and then I run the race pretty much towards the end of my vacation. And so I personally like to do that because it requires me to take off the least amount of days from work, because races are typically on Sunday. And so if you front end the race, if you're getting to the destination on like Saturday or Friday, you're gonna have to go into the next week. And so it might, you know, depending on what your job is, require you to take off some days the following week. Now me, I love to get to my race location on Wednesday or Thursday before. And so I typically might go either Wednesday after work or take off Thursday and Friday. And so then I'm in my race location, you know, a few days leading up to my race. So I personally feel like back ending the race just relieves so much stress off of me, because if you have to pick up your race packet on a Saturday, getting into town on a Saturday and then picking up your race packet that same day, that just stresses me out, y'all. So I need to be in the race location a day before I pick up my race packet, and then a couple of days before my race. So the thing with that is, I still will eat whatever I want, I'll drink whatever I want, and I will really enjoy the destination that I'm in. And then I just really look at race day as it's a fun activity to me. Like, I love to have fun for my races, but for people who are really intense and they want to run their best race for every single race, and they want to put their best foot forward and, you know, want to continue eating clean all the way up to race day, then running a race on the back end might not be for you. But me personally, that is how I like to plan my runcations, and it works out perfectly for me. So a typical itinerary for me would be arriving in a destination on Wednesday or Thursday. I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday to pretty much do what I want besides picking up that race packet. Sunday I run my race, and then Monday I leave. So I will just throw in like a little pro tip for you guys. I don't recommend scheduling to leave your runcation the day of the race. So running the race and then trying to prepare yourself to leave to, you know, either drive back home or fly back home, I do not recommend. Like, I did that one time and it is so stressful. I will never do it again, because trying to check out of your hotel after the race, or trying to extend it so that you can have a late checkout, like, it's just so stressful. And then if you have a plane that you need to catch, like, just trying to make sure everything flows so that you can make this flight. And depending on what distance that you run, you may be exhausted. So I personally do not recommend leaving your runcation the day of the race. Just go ahead and extend it out and just leave the next day. Like, Monday is fine by me. So another pro tip that I will give you guys is, where are you going to stay in relation to your start line? So I personally like to stay within walking distance of the start line. And this is because on race day, things can be so hectic. Like, with the road closures, just trying to make sure that you're there on time is typically a lot of people, depend on how big the race is. I just personally like to stay within walking distance. I want to just alleviate as much stress as I can leading up to race day. So an experience that I personally had was when I ran Rock and Roll Vancouver. So I actually stayed, I think it was like maybe 5 miles from the start line. So it technically wasn't that far. But when I got up the morning of race day, there was no Uber that can take me to the start line of the race. Like, everything was just pretty much blocked off. Like, the streets were already shut down. So I had to walk that distance to the start line, and it was so far in comparison to where I stayed at in my hotel. So let's say that you want to stay in a different hotel because the ones closer to the start line are a little bit more expensive. I definitely feel like it is worth just being stress-free and changing hotels the night before race night, just so that you can be within walking distance, a comfortable walking distance to the start line. So that's just my pro tip for you guys from my experience. Okay, you guys, so last but not least, in order to plan the perfect runcation, you have to also plan some activities for you to do while you're in that destination other than the race. So I know that the main focus of the Runcation is to focus on the race, but depending on your location, you may want to sightsee, you may want to try different foods that are popular in that area. And so a lot of the time, especially for those really big races, a lot of runners will actually travel to that destination for the same race that you are there for. So you don't want to miss out on meeting a lot of your fellow runners while you're on this Runcation. It's a great opportunity to meet other like-minded people. So in order to do this, I recommend checking out Instagram. Like, a lot of people will tag the race. I also recommend spending a little bit of time, or planning to spend a little bit of time, at the Run Expo, because everyone that is at the Run Expo is picking up a race packet and they're like-minded people. They've traveled and they've wanted to run this race just as bad as you did. So I would allot some time into your schedule to really spend some time and really get to know people at the Run Expo. Maybe exchange information, especially if you solo travel to that particular destination to run the race. This will give you an opportunity to meet some friends, and then you have something and somebody to do. Oh, you know what? That didn't really, I didn't mean that. And then you have something to do later and somebody to hang out with. I also recommend looking on the app called Meetup. So Meetup is an app that pretty much has different activities and stuff going on in a particular city that you may be visiting. So that is a great opportunity to see what the locals are doing, especially if you can find a run group in that area, because they, like I said, have the same like-mindedness as you, and they're preparing for the race as well. So that is a great opportunity to meet fellow runners in the city that you have traveled to. Alright you guys, so that is it for today's Runcation video. I'm super excited that people are out there and traveling again and setting up Runcations. So if you have any Runcations that you are planning on booking, please let me know in the comments below, because I might have some advice, because it might be a race that I've already ran, or I might be interested in running it in the future myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to keep your actions intentional, your thoughts positive, and remember that hurt people, but today it stops with us. I'm so excited to get back out there and be running and planning different Runcations. It looks like you guys are as well. All right, thank you guys so much. I will talk to y'all later.